We're live. All right. Good evening, Cave Newton Mall. I'd like to call this special council meeting to order. I need a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda. Dave and Renee. All those in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. So this evening, there's a public hearing scheduled for one zoning bylaw amendment, and it's for application number ZBA 23-FR for B&E Honeyfields Limited. The Planning Act requires that a public hearing be held before council decides whether or not to pass a zoning bylaw amendment. The public hearing serves two purposes. First, to present to council and the public details and background to a proposed rezoning. And second, to receive comments from the public and agencies before council makes a decision. Mr. Dumont will provide a summary of the applications. From there, the applicant will be requested to make a presentation virtual, followed by questions from the public virtually, whether in favor or against the proposal. Council will then have the opportunity to question the applicant, the director of planning, or anyone giving presentation. The zoning amendment bylaw will then be considered by council later this evening. Mr. Dumont, could you please advise how the public notice was provided?
So notice of public hearing was posted with the municipal office and was sent by mail to the assessed owners within 120 meters of the property subject to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application tonight, and to those persons and agencies likely to have an interest in the application. Notices were sent on April 19th, 2023, being over 20 days prior to this evening's meeting. Included with the notice was an explanation of the purpose and effect of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment and a key map showing the location of the subject property.
Thank you. I now declare this portion of the hearing to be a public hearing to deal with application number ZBA 23-FR for B&E Honeyfields Limited. Mr. Dumont, will you please summarize the purpose and effects of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment and provide any additional information and correspondence relevant to this application?
Thank you. So this was a concurrent application again, where the Sudbury Planning Board held their meeting last Thursday for a severance application. And tonight we're here for the bylaw amendment for the zone of the lands. So to give you a little bit of context of the outcome of the meeting last Thursday, the planning board provided approval for the lot to be severed, and the intent of the lot was to be smaller than the required 0.8 hectares in area. So the application was actually 0.51 hectares, so under the 8.8 hectares in lot area. That was one of the reasons for the rezoning of the application. And secondly, also to speak to that reduction in the bylaw, to note that. Now, in terms of frontage, the frontage was there. The residential rural zone requires 60 meters. The proponent was showing 112 meters of frontage, so it exceeds the 60 meters. So mostly the intent was for a smaller lot area than is required for the residential rural area. And the reason for that is we had consultation back and forth. I was working with the consultants who are present this evening, that being Telek Engineering, who's representing B&E Honeyfields this evening. And if you notice, if you look at aerial imagery, they actually provided the required 0.8 hectares through pre-consultation. So I provided my professional opinion in saying that it would be in the best interest because the lands have been operated as a honey field and an agricultural use, where there's a single family home and a detached garage on the property that's being severed. And then the barn is just as part of the agricultural use. So I thought my professional opinion would be in the best interest to maintain that operation. And a result of maintaining that operation, you would, looking back at the aerial imagery, you'd have us just look at the hedges along the edge. And that's what the consultants subsequently did, which resulted in a smaller lot, which still would provide access to septic system and private well in terms of servicing. So that's why it was a little bit back and forth dialogue to get where we needed to. And then the main goal here was to maintain that agricultural use and not negatively impact that. So as a result, this is why we're here this evening to sever out the single family home and the detached garage and to recognize the reduced lot area, and to have that as a residential rural zone where the balance of the lands will be maintained as rural and the operation of the farm will continue as such. And during our conversation at the board level, there was a question made by one of the members with respect to access. So I followed up with our chair and staff here at the municipality of French River and provided we received clarity on that. So the access question was just to ensure that there's a civic address for the retained parcel of land. So that has been confirmed from Public Works and Melanie here tonight. So I just wanted to follow up with Bob on that note and for the council this evening. So there's no concerns or issues with respect to that. Both have legal accesses, both the severed and the retained lot. With that said, the municipality of French River provided comments, but the comments were for the severance process. They had no objections or issues with the application. I noted the updated comments from May 12th that I just touched on. And overall, the application this evening conforms to our provincial and local legislation, can be supported from a plan perspective.
Thank you. I see Vanessa Smith is here. Do you have a presentation or comments to make, Vanessa?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. No real comments to add besides that, yeah, the reason you're seeing the 0.5 hectares of area this evening is because we concurred with Matt that bringing that in to just have the boundaries of the existing single detached dwelling would be more appropriate in order to kind of retain all of the agricultural use. So that is why you're seeing the reduction from the 0.8 to the 0.5 and that we're glad that the issues surrounding emergency services have been addressed. Thanks.
Thank you. There's no members of the public online either. All right, any questions from members of council? No. If there's no questions, then I declare this public hearing to be concluded. It's now in order for a council member to make a motion and for council to consider the application. So need a mover and a seconder, Bob and Dean. All those in favor? Thank you. Sorry. If there's no further questions, I declare this public hearing to be concluded. The zoning bylaw amendment will be considered. I already did that. I should take this out. Please be advised that there is a 20-day appeal period during which time any person or public body may, no later than 20 days after the day that the giving of written notice as required by section 34-18 of the Planning Act is completed, appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal by filing with the clerk of the municipality a notice of appeal, setting out the objections to the bylaw and the reasons in support of the objections, accompanied by a fee prescribed under the local planning appeals tribunal. During this period of time, no building permit may be issued or other work commenced. And with that, I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Willie and Dave, all those in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
You too.